A very good afternoon to all in one and all, and especially our organizers of this global dialogue on security summit. I first of all would like to thank my mentor in one way and my dear friend, somebody who has always been a guide and helped me, Shri KJ Alphonse ji, for gracing this occasion, though I would have loved it if we were here online, physically present rather than online. But it's great that you found time to be part of this particular dialogue and summit. And would thank you on behalf of the entire organizing committee. I would also like to thank Mr. Moses, who has been the main pillar, I should say, of pushing this particular global dialogue. And we had been discussing about this for quite some time. And during these difficult COVID times, it is not easy to organize something like this. So I must congratulate him and thank him for the initiative that he has taken. General Sani ji has also come here from quite far, and I must again thank him, though I think it's more like a homecoming for him after listening to the different postings he has had and the Northeast. I would say that he would know more about Northeast than most of us sitting in this room. Mr. Peter, who's our representative of KAS, I would like to thank you and the entire foundation for having supported this particular dialogue and also for your presence today. Dr. Kapesa, who's the assistant professor from International Relations, Northeast Christian University, my good friend and honorable MLA, Mr. Muchu Miti, and hosts of other individuals who are present out here from different parts of the world to discuss, I would say, one of the most critical subjects that a lot of people, I presume, don't realize how important this particular subject and topic is, especially given the global scenario today, where all of us are connected and the challenges we face because of the uncertainty. So therefore, there's a host of people, and I was talking to Moses and going through the names, and I must say, I do feel very small standing here, knowing the kind of experience and knowledge that this room has right now. And I wouldn't be wrong in saying that there's over, I think, 1,000 years of experience right in this room right now, and 1,000 years of, I should say, high quality experience. So we can imagine the kind of dialogue that's going to take place, and we can only imagine what kind of discussion at what level will take place. It's truly a global dialogue, and I once again thank the organizing committee for choosing Shillong to be part of this dialogue and hosting this particular summit. I welcome each and every one of you to Shillong. This is a great time to be here. We are having the Cherry Blossom Festival. I was just at Wards Lake inaugurating the first literary festival. So we'll have a lot of authors and writers from throughout the country who will be having different sessions out there. And in the evening, we'll be having a lot of music and a lot of funfair at Polo Ground. So I do take this opportunity to invite all of you to be part of that program also. But having said that, coming to the more serious discussion that we're having, I can very much relate strongly to the subject matter that we're discussing today. And when Mr. Moses had mentioned about hosting this program here, I was very excited. I just want to give a small background about myself so that we can I can tell you the perspective from which I'm talking. That in 1999, when I had just completed my graduation, I was in University of Pennsylvania. I finished my grad, and I just come back to India. And I just knew that I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to start businesses. And I would like to see that the economy here in Northeast grows. And it is with that mindset I went down. I got 20 ideas that I thought were great, and finally got down to 2 ideas, which finally were my business plans that I made. And one of them was a food processing unit, where I would have different products, because Northeast and Meghalaya was very rich in agriculture products. And the second was an ISP. And I decided on starting an ISP. That's an internet service provider. I'm sure all of you know that. And this is in 1999. And we had the dial-up services then. I think all of you are aware of the dial-up services, or maybe some of you have forgotten what it was. And we started this, and I was so excited. And that was my first, I should say, kind of first move into the IT sector in the Northeast. And it was a disaster. And nothing worked. So we had 2 64 kbps lines, 2 64 kbps lines going all the way to Kolkata. And that's the VSNL that time. And I ran 100 customers from the dial-up services with the 2 64 kbps lines. That's it. So that was the internet services when I started off, and how the IT was at that point in time. And from that time, of course, we kept working. We kept, moving into IT solutions, different kind of IT products for governance. Of course, I was not a programmer, but I knew the importance of IT from that point of view. And I really felt that it could play a very important role in overall society growth, as well as the growth of businesses, and obviously for governance also. So that's my initial experience with IT. And as I said, as we grew, and we moved on, then we had the optical fibers. And of course, we started expanding our business at that point in time. And thankfully, I didn't have to run it anymore. My wife took over, and I got into the real stuff that I was slightly better at, which is politics. And the business finally stabilized. That aside, cyberspace is something that I have been a very strong believer in. And just to touch on a few aspects, even today, we are using technology to the max in governance. I mean, I would like to do more, but there are limitations in terms of the kind of bandwidth and the kind of connectivity we have in the Northeast, which are restrictive. And obviously, the manpower and the absorption capacity of the system and the individuals who are working in the large governance sector are huge challenges for us. Even we know that technology is available, it's a different story to actually make it work. So even today we are, say for example, I have a huge problem with maternal mortality rates. So we had only 40% of the mothers actually going for institutional delivery. So what we did, we started mapping all the 29,000, at any given time, approximately 30,000, we have 30,000 mothers who are pregnant. And we actually started mapping them from village to the sub-centers, to the doctors who are supposed to take care of them, to the ASHA workers, down to the ambulance driver who's supposed to drive them. So we went down to micro details, and today, thanks to this kind of an e-governance, which we call it the Mother Program, we're actually able to increase the institutional deliveries to almost double. We're touching almost 70% now in a matter of 3 years. And even the maternal mortality rate has come down. Similarly, we have seen this kind of activity going in roads. So we actually monitor roads online sometimes as far as possible to monitor the PMGSY roads, for example. So we actually have the records, the systems in place. And all these aspects have helped us in governance. Files move in online. And therefore, technology has played a very, very crucial role when it comes to governance. The challenge now, and which I'm sure that all of you have been working on and looking at, is really the aspect of the cyber attacks that are really the worrying factor. And I was asking my team, I said, you have all the data of all the mothers who are pregnant out here. As a medical professional, you know that it's wrong to give out information about who these individuals are. Are you sure that nobody can hack this information and actually find out who are the mothers and who are the... So this information is great for governance, but it opens up another challenge for us, where we are actually exposing the entire details of all the patients or all the pregnant mothers that we have in our state. So these are the aspects that we as a government also are trying to work out, and ensuring that virtual private networks are used as far as possible to minimize the access to these kind of areas. All those aspects are being done, but I think you all are much more experienced than us to know that there's are limitations to that also. So it's an area which I'm sure that this particular conference will discuss. I just thought that it's important to share today that, at least for my government, we are very, very keen to see this move forward. Another aspect which was mentioned today, because I'll just touch on a few topics, was talking about law and order situation. And I'll tell you, it's become a part of a standard operating procedure. Law and order situation comes in, cut the mobile connectivity. So before you even ask the police to move forward or ask for the report, the first step for any government in the response is, remove the internet services. So this is the kind of, the impact or effect internet or the connectivity can have because of the fake news or different kind of mobilizations that can take place because of the connectivity that is there, is a major concern for us today. And we are looking as a government, are looking at ways and means in which we can actually start going into stopping specific services without disrupting the range of services that are there. So I had spoken to my experts. I couldn't get a clear reply. They said that I asked them that, is it possible to just stop WhatsApp and other social media platforms, but still allow access to the other aspects of internet? And the reply I got was that, you have to go into all the IP addresses and this and that, which is a bit, it went beyond my capacity. So I just let it be. But that is going to be something that's going to be important. How do we segregate the areas that are necessary services through the internet and blocking the ones that will actually cause the problem, a true issue and a problem for the government? Because if we have a choice, obviously we'll try to just stop certain services and allow the rest of the internet to continue. And in this last 3 years, there were 3 incidents where I had to stop the internet services for more than 10, 15 days. So that's the kind of challenge in the law and order we face because of social media and because of the fake news that goes around in social media. When it comes to areas of defense, obviously we know how critical it is in today's world. We had these recent attacks that took place in Maharashtra, where the entire grid came crumbling down. We have specific instructions from Government of India telling us that we cannot use products made by certain nations because they can be then hacked in the future, and meters or different products could actually, that are in the grid, could actually be controlled by different nations. So these are real threats that are happening. And as we go along, as was mentioned by one of the professors who was speaking here, said correctly that we need to work towards some kind of laws and policies that could actually be something that could balance this out and be acceptable. And I know it's a very easy thing to say, but very difficult, and nations are struggling to find out where that particular balance will come in. But it is something that I'm sure that as we move forward, we are making progress in it. But as we move forward, there are more and more challenges that are coming up. And you speak to many experts in the defense sector, and they will tell you that today, more than the physical dangers that we have. There are critical dangers from the cyber side, and in critical situations. Today we have our MLA from Arunachal Pradesh who's here, and they understand the situation and the complexity of the situation much more, and they will realize that that the dangers that we have, in terms of the attacks that can happen online and through systems that are controlled online, is far more. So therefore, entire dynamics of warfare as we speak is changing, and as a nation, and of course as nations who are concerned about peace in the world as a whole, we need to realize that somewhere these issues need to be addressed. There was a very important point that was mentioned by General when he was mentioning, as well as by Mr. Peter when he was mentioning about the economic development of the region. And I just want to add one twist to this entire aspect of peace and prosperity, and the development aspects following through that. And I have always analyzed the situation, especially for Northeast, slightly differently, where we have seen that the reason for the unrest in the region as a whole has been the lack of development. So do we see peace coming first and then development comes in, or we see development coming in first and the peace comes in? It's always been a complicated dialogue and debate. And therefore, you will see the unrest that has been there in the Northeast has been because of socio-economic factors. And I tell people that, individuals take the wrong path. Not because they would like to. Some of them don't even know what the meaning is behind the different purposes that these groups come out with, but it's simply economics that pushes them to that. So the socio-economic aspects of development need to go hand in hand while we come out with policies for peace, and that's the only way to really find a permanent solution to the unrest that was there in the region. Because if we wait for peace to happen and then say, then we'll start the development, I think that may be slightly not the correct approach in the long run and in the medium run. And regarding the overall economic development of the region, I can assure you that the generation now is very much engaged. And thanks to cyberspace, of course, this is growing even broader and broader. Now, we have a lot of enterprising youth that are coming up. I was just speaking to the crowd at the literary festival, and I was telling them that part of the reason why we want the artists and the writers and the authors to come up is because we're looking at how we could convert your talent and your passion into livelihood programs and commercial aspects. Our people are good in music, but somehow the music just finishes in the room and between some friends. But yet in other nations and other states, the musician is able to somehow get into that platform and commercialize it and spread it across the world, and able to create business and livelihood and opportunity out of these talents. How do we do that is something that entrepreneurs and talents that we have out here, entrepreneurs and the products that we have out here, entrepreneurs and the 98% of borders that we have with the other nations are opportunities. They are challenges, but they are opportunities also. So I strongly feel that in the coming years, we need to look at all of this aspect and see how we could push the region. This region has been an economically very, very active region in the past, but because of geographical boundaries that came in after independence, we were constrained. And now we are less than 1% of the exports of the country. But having 98% border with the rest of the countries, we have a huge opportunity for trade. And I feel that if the right steps and policies are taken, entrepreneurs are given the space, infrastructures are created, I'm sure it can happen. And by infrastructure, I also mean IT infrastructure. We are waiting for the submarine cables that have landed in Chittagong to reach the Northeast. We're looking and waiting for the cost of that, which is 8 times more than the cost that is there within the country. That cost to come down from Chittagong port. Because once those come down, you're opening up a huge access again to IT in the Northeast. So we are concerned about all these infrastructures, and I hope that as we move along, we will get into those areas also. So I won't take much time. There's a lot to speak, and especially in front of a great audience and a great, I should say, the kind of people we have here today is really amazing, I should say. And I really would like to sit and listen to all, but I'm sure that I will be getting a small note on the discussions that took place and the ideas and suggestions that came out of this dialogue. And I would be happy to take forward those discussions, whatever I can at my level, and of course push it forward at the national level also with our senior leaders at the center and in Government of India. So with these few words, I once again congratulate all the organizing committee members for this great program and this dialogue. And I really thank Mr. Moses once again for taking the initiative. I thank all the people who have come from many different states and the countries to be part of this program. And I wish this program a great success. And again, I would like to invite you. We'll be having a great program in the evening. I know I'm trying to take advantage of this dialogue to also, promote my state from a tourism point of view. But that's how politicians are. We take chance and opportunity in these kind of situations too. But we'll have a great program in the evening. We'll have, as I said, music. We have bands from South Korea, from different parts of the world. So I'm sure you'll enjoy that after a long discussion out here, which I'm sure will be great. You can always relax there in the evening. So with these few words, once again, I wish this program and this dialogue great success. Sir, thank you so much once again for joining us online. It was always a pleasure to host you, but sadly you're not here this time. But I do hope that in the next conferences, you'll be there physically also to be part of this and many other programs. So with these few words, once again, thank you very much, and Jai Hind.